World, Dr. Jane Goodall was handpicked by the famous anthropologist Louis Leakey to study chimps in a remote area of Tanzania. So in 1960, at the age of 26, I think, Jane and her mother traveled to Gombe to study one of the great apes, and she's still doing it almost 50 years later. And Dr. Jane Goodall, welcome, joins us now. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So you're here because you're giving a lecture tomorrow night, and we'll talk much more about that and give you a chance to win tickets to that as well. But we have so much to ask you. First of all, how well do you remember that very first trip?
Oh, I remember it so well. Leakey had been trying to get money for a year, and he finally got a bit of money, because I had no degree, I had nothing. And then the authorities...
What was your background in?
Just, I'd been to school, I studied biology.
Yeah.
And then I did secretarial, because I couldn't get to university, we didn't have any money.
Right.
And then I got invited by a school friend to Kenya, so I saved the money up by working as a waitress. And finally got there and met Louis Leakey, and then he made me this amazing offer.
And you couldn't say no?
Of course not. That's what I'd been dreaming of. My one dream, age 11, was to go to Africa, live with animals, and write books about them.
Wow.
And everybody laughed but my mother.
So your mother believed in you, and she came with you, and she stayed with you for quite a while that first trip?
For 4 months, because the British authorities of what was then Tanganyika refused for a young girl to go on her own.
So you had to have a chaperone?
I had to have, well, I don't know if it's a chaperone, but somebody there, so I wasn't alone.
So you went, and nobody had ever tried to habituate any of the great apes before. Nobody had any idea how to go about it. Certainly they weren't interested in getting to know you, the chimpanzees, at the beginning. So how did you finally earn their trust and get to know them and teach them to allow humans to come close enough to study them?
Well, simply patience. Actually, George Schaller had been with the mountain gorillas, but I didn't know about what he'd done. He actually did more or less the same as me.
That was in the Congo a few years earlier.
Yes, you just have to wait, be quiet, be non-threatening, be patient, not try to get too close too quickly. And the awful thing was, in that first, we only had money for 6 months, and I knew if I didn't see something exciting, there'd be no more money, and that was the nightmare. So fortunately, thanks to one wonderful individual, David Greybeard, with his lovely white beard, he showed me chimpanzees using and making tools. And that was the exciting thing, because it was supposed to be only humans that could do that.
That was absolutely revolutionary, wasn't it?
Totally.
And then after that, of course, you were extended. And I understand, too, that part of it, there was a peak named after you called Jane's Peak, because in frustration, you just got to this peak. And that was partly how the chimpanzees learned to become habituated to you. They would just see you on this peak all the time.
That's right.
Drinking your coffee and minding your own business. And
well, just waiting with my binoculars all day, never relaxing for a second.
Wow.
And it's been called Jane's Peak. I didn't call it Jane's Peak.
But now that everybody calls that.
Now they do, yes.
Even your blog, I've looked at the chimpanzee blog, the scientists there who are at Gombe still call it, the chimps went up to Jane's Peak today.
That's what it's called now.
Yeah, that's neat. Now, since then, of course, you founded the Jane Goodall Institute to help not only the chimps at Gombe, but to teach the world about endangered chimpanzees and especially children. Tell me why you're so focused on that now.
I began, I left Gombe sort of to travel the world 300 days in '86 when I realized that the chimps across Africa were vanishing so fast. And beginning to talk about them, their plight, the destruction of the forest habitat, the hunting for food, the live animal trade, all of these things. And realizing, that right across Africa, the situation was dire, not just for the animals, but the people. And realizing how much of Africa's resources are just stolen by the developed world. So I began traveling in North America and also in Europe, talking about these issues, then more often in Asia. And I kept meeting young people who'd lost hope, who felt that, we'd compromised their future and there was nothing they could do about it.
But you never lost hope. You still haven't lost hope.
No, but I can well see why young people do. I mean, the stuff that you talk about every day on your news programs, a lot of it's very depressing. Global warming and, the unequal distribution of wealth. And
especially right now, what's happening in the Congo.
Exactly.
And I know there's a huge number of chimpanzees in the Congo also.
That's right. So, what I felt so strongly is, I understand why they've lost hope, but it's not hopeless. And therefore, by starting this program that we call Roots and Shoots, which is now in 100 countries.
Wow.
And it's for young people from preschool right through university and even beyond. And it's about choosing 3 projects to make the world better, one for people, one for animals, one for the environment, rolling up your sleeves, getting out there, knowing that you, with your actions, are going to make a difference.
And you can. And
you can.
Doesn't take much, does it?
No, and these, where do I get my energy for all this traveling at my age?
300 days out of 365 days a year.
Are on the road.
Yeah.
And everywhere I go, I'm meeting extraordinary groups of young people who they have made a huge change. They've restored an ecosystem. They've written letters and saved a species. And,
wow.
So this is very inspiring. Also, I meet other extraordinary people who've devoted their lives to some issue of concern.
So you get inspired by them, and they in turn get inspired by you, I'm sure, by meeting you and what you've accomplished. So that's what we want to give people a chance to do tomorrow night. You can come and see Dr. Jane Goodall speak at the Center for Performing Arts, and we are actually giving away 2 pairs of tickets to the event. So to win, you can be the 3rd and 6th caller right now, 604-280-6397.